I want to ask everyone a question to keep in the back of their head while listening to my talk. When was the lowest point of your life, and did it stay that way forever? Really, did the world end when you said it would? I think many of you would agree things never remain low forever, and even if they are that bad, they still go back up. I can't stand here and tell you bad things won't happen in life, but I can tell you that you personally can help them make them seem not as bad. Life can have its hard times and low, but life is a roller coaster. You soar to highs while sometimes life moves fast and other times slow. No matter what, you just ride the roller coaster of life and roll with the punches, as they say. That being said, that doesn't mean you can't change your perspective to make those lows seem more like highs. Let me share a story from my own life. One day when I was 17, I had just had enough of my lows, and my life seemed to be crumbling all around me, so I got in my car and I ran away. Leading up to that, I was struggling with depression, and academically, my performance had dropped significantly. I had dealt with this before, but that day, my parents had expressed their utmost anger and disappointment in me, and that was what pushed me over. I felt like I was falling down the steepest part of the roller coaster, and I didn't see an upward hill coming. I grabbed my wallet and my keys, left my phone at home, hopped in my car, and just drove in a direction, and I didn't look back. I drove all the way to Washington, D.C. from central New Jersey via a long detour, non-projected route, where I ran out of gas, spent the night sleeping in my tiny Jeep in a Waffle House parking lot in Maryland, got lost in both Philadelphia and Baltimore, and I realized I made things worse. I didn't know what I was doing anymore. I spent the first leg of that journey just focusing on the road, but then it slowly began to hit me. I looked back on what had happened and what I was doing, and I realized I made the wrong decision. After reaching D.C., I wandered around for a bit, and even now that journey is engraved in my head. I still remember my car being parked on the corner of 4th and Jefferson Street, between the Capitol and the Washington Monument. One moment I specifically remember was walking by the U.S. Navy Memorial Plaza. I stopped to sit down and think, as much of my family were sailors. It was there I realized I missed home, and my family, and my life, and it was time to go home. I felt like the roller coaster had broken down, and I was sitting at the bottom of the dip, waiting for the operator to come fix it. I managed to be reunited with my family, and thankfully this is where I can say things slowly began to move up the roller coaster again. School was awful the next day. Many of my friends and peers were distant, if not removed from me completely, and it made me feel so much worse. But I learned not to let this part of my life impact me negatively. Instead, I made it the opposite. This is when I started to rise again up that roller coaster to a new high. I use it to this day as a reminder of where I was and where I am now, and how far I've come. I use it to remind me no matter how life gets, it won't be that bad again. I just got to take a breath, look around, and life will get better. We all have the ability to hold on and keep riding that roller coaster until we hit that next high. I've battled depression since I was 14 years old, and up until after my runaway incident, I had just hung on to the bad and possibly ignored all the good that was happening simultaneously. Now if something bad happens, yeah, it may bother me for a bit, but I'm not going to let it dictate my life. When things get tough, I think back to me lost, walking around D.C. almost 3 years ago now. And honestly, I can say I was scared. And probably at the lowest I've been and will be in my life, where depression and anger had consumed me entirely. I think back to how I was thinking my life was over and being self-deprecating. And then I look at where I am today. Never in a million years would I think about standing on a stage and telling my personal story to strangers, or even imagine what I've accomplished here at Rutgers. It's all about perspective. And now every day, I like to think about one good thing that happened that day. And even if it was a crap day, where my car broke down, or I didn't do well in an exam, I still find something to illuminate the darkness. And I know life will get better. It always does. Fast forward to 2020, and amidst the awfulness of the ongoing pandemic, it did have some good for me. Because of quarantine, I adopted a new at-home hobby of beekeeping, and from that spawned my love for the practice. And now I'm an entomology major, studying honeybees, and I hope to make a career out of it. I only started because of quarantine, so now I'm sitting at the top of a new high on the roller coaster. Because of this, I have so much joy and fulfillment from it, and it makes me feel whole again. Me and you all being here today is proof that life always gets better. All those times we said my life is over or this is going to ruin me, well, guess what? It didn't, and you are here to prove it. I'm not the same person I was in D.C., and even though I thought my life was over, it was truly just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where, yeah, things aren't perfect, but I control my own life and not let the bad control me. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel for all of us. You just got to keep going. Life has plenty of highs on the roller coaster. You just need to find them and hold on to them. No one should be going through lows alone. And looking back 3 years ago, asking for help would have sped up the process of getting to that high once again. Now, I've learned to appreciate the roller coaster of life more than ever before.